So here's the thing. Most of us, unfortunately or fortunately, don't live in big cities. We do not live in London, Paris, New York, any of those sort of major ones. Obviously, I'm not going to list them all. And in my experience, when you get to visit these cities, it's typically not alone. It's typically with family, it's with friends, partners, colleagues, whoever it might be. You're typically not going into these places alone because you're going for whatever purpose it might be. And that's great that you're going to these places with other people. How do you take photos without annoying all the people that you've gone with? Well, that's what I'd like to talk about in today's video. And I'm going to overlay some B-roll of me taking photos in cities and other various locations to make this video a little bit more interesting to watch. Now, I'm fortunate enough that I get to go to a lot of big cities quite often, fairly often, with family and friends. And I think big game changer for me when it comes to talking about this topic is planning ahead. Now, I'm a big believer, and I know a lot of other photographers are a big believer in the fact that going for a wander and taking photos that not many people have taken photos of is the best type of photography you can do. Going to these spots that everyone's taking photos, you're not realistically going to take photos that other people haven't already taken photos of. And again, it depends on your perspective on photography and what you're looking for. If you're someone who's very casual and just wants to upload to Instagram, getting shots that other people have taken before doesn't really matter and maybe is a benefit to you. However, I've found having some form of site map for the city that I'm going to with key locations that I can maybe pinpoint has been huge. Tools like Instagram are great because they've got the little geographical map that you can look and see where people are taking photos, what they're taking photos of. So you've got some form of reference point. This is a fantastic tool if you have got time constraints, but you want to improve your photography, and by improving your photography, you need to take photos. So this merges those two really nicely. Another tool, and one that people don't talk about, is Reddit. I'm on a few subreddits, and it's great to see when people have said, oh, I've been to London, I've been to Porto, I've been wherever. You can see the photos they've taken. You maybe can DM them and ask them where they took them. And again, it's a nice balance between, because they've maybe gone for that wander, so you might be able to see where they've gone and maybe pinpoint it on your Google Maps or whatever service you use. And like I've just mentioned, Google Maps is also a fantastic tool. It often comes up with the really touristy spots that you can go and take photos. But what I found, especially in Europe, is it will have a little photograph symbol, and it's sort of beauty points that you can go to. And again, it might be that they're quite generic and lots of people have taken photos there. However, that might be the first photo that you take, and then you see something else around the corner, or you see a different perspective and a different angle. So I wouldn't dismiss these spots straight away. I mean, it's things like people take photos of Big Ben in London. You're realistically not going to probably take a new perspective on that photo. But if you've never been to London before and you want to get that photo for your portfolio work, why not? Who really cares at the end of the day? But yeah, my advice definitely would be to search for these locations, drop some pins, and like I said, you've got almost your map laid out to different spots that you can go to. And the real beauty of this is the fact that you can often share this map with other people that you're going with. And typically, if they're non-photographers, they might have cafes or shops or different attractions that they want to go and see. And where you've pinpointed might align quite nicely with where they want to go. So it's all about collaborating and working together. So instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to be a pain if we wander down here, opposite to where you want to take a photo, it might be a cafe or a shop or something that whoever you've gone with wants to go and visit, see, or whatever. So collaborate with the people that you're going with, be upfront and say that you want to take some photos, and of course ask if they're okay with that. If they are, then collaborate on the places that you'd like to go and say, is there anywhere they want to go, and see how you can sort of make a map and make a route that fits both of your interests together. Now, a little trick that I like to use is when whoever you're with pops into a shop, cafe, or goes to see an attraction or a building, whatever it might be. That, in my opinion, is your golden opportunity to go round the corner, look around you, look at your map and see if any of the pinpoints are close by, and go hit a few of those different shots, especially if they've gone to a cafe and they want to sit down and have a bit of a break and that you're still feeling up for taking some photos. Go around the corner and do a few extra kilometers of these different various spots that you've taken. And again, it's a nice way of merging in that sort of wandering aspect of city photography that you should be realistically trying to do, get those unique photos. And again, the beauty of this is if you've shared your location with them, they know where you are, they know realistically where you're going and what you're hoping to achieve. You know that they're at a cafe, you know where they are, so it's a win-win for everyone, because that's a big thing when you're in a big city. You should know where everyone is to stay safe. This is a great way of doing that as well, so you know what they're up to, they know what you're up to, and again, they realistically know you're going to be 5 or 10 minutes or however long they might then come and join you afterwards. So again, it's about collaborating together and working together to make sure that everyone's getting the most out of the experience. Because by doing that, you're realistically not going to piss them off too much when you want to stop every 5 minutes to take a photo of the same thing. So they'll be a bit more lenient with you and they get to still enjoy their time in the big city. Another thing I would say is to get the person or people that you're with involved in the process. There's no better way than getting people to understand photography and maybe get them hooked into photography than getting them involved in what you're doing. See, it could be a simple thing like asking them to be your subject. A lot of times it's difficult, or you have to wait quite a while to maybe get a certain subject and a certain silhouette. So why don't you ask the person that you're with if they'll walk through that piece of light or if they'll be that subject, and see also what you can do in return for them. Is a lot of times people love a good portrait of themselves. People love a selfie in front of iconic buildings, like I've mentioned, Big Ben. It could be the Palace of Versailles or wherever it might be. They love those generic shots. So if you're on holiday or you've gone to a big city, be the family photographer, be the friend photographer, and take some nice photos of them. You've got a nice camera, and it's something that I like to do because it's fun. You have a bit of fun with it. It's good from my perspective because I do some professional work, so it helps me kind of loosen up the subjects and know how to get people to work with you in front of the camera. And it's nice to them. They've got something nice to share on Instagram and Facebook. And again, you don't know where it might lead. So one of their friends might have an event that they want to then invite you to shoot at, and you never know, your hobby then might become your professional career. But my point is giving back to as much as possible and using up a bit of your SD card space to send them a few photos across. Also, it's surprising how often non-photographers see subjects or see a scene that I haven't seen myself. I guess maybe because I'm often wandering around knowing what I like to shoot and thinking, oh, that's pointless, I'm not going to take a photo of that. However, getting them involved and saying, listen, if you see something that you think is cool, tell me and I'll try and take a photo of it. One, again, this is giving back to them and they can post on their Instagram, and it's just being nice. And two, from your perspective, it might be that you get surprised that the photo that you've taken you didn't see and you might really like. This has happened to me a few times. And I always tell my partner, listen, if there's something you want me to take a photo of or you see something cool, it doesn't hurt to take a couple of photos of it. A lot of times I look back and go, oh, I wish I'd spent a bit more time taking photos of this particular scene because it was actually quite cool. So don't dismiss people, get them involved. And again, if they're part of the process, they're not going to be too bothered by the fact you're stopping, taking photos. And for me, of course, being a content creator, I'm adding video content on top of that. So I'll often tell whoever I'm with, do they mind taking some video of me taking photos so I can use as B-roll? It's really quite helpful. And I think also it's why picking the right camera is quite important when you're going to a new location or you're going to a city. I think for me, my criteria is it needs to be fairly lightweight, it needs to be fairly compact, versatile, decent battery life, and is pretty user friendly and maybe stylish as well, because if you're going to a big city, you might be wearing nicer clothes than you normally would, and you want to look good if you're taking casual photos to go on your personal Instagram or wherever. So that's why something like the X100VI is so perfect, in my opinion, for this, because it is compact, it has got a fantastic sensor in it, it's got in-body stabilization like we know. The lens on it is versatile. You've got the inbuilt crop, you've got the standard Fujifilm recipes, you can have your own custom Fujifilm recipes. And once you've set it up using the annoying settings menu, it's very easy to leave it, forget it, and just enjoy taking photos. And if you've got it slinged around you, it looks quite good. I get a lot of compliments about the camera, whether I'm walking into a shop or like the other day, I got a compliment from a stage actor saying how retro and how cool the camera was. And it's those little moments. It's nice to interact with people and talk about the camera and, get photos like that. So for me, it's a huge thing. I even see people using action cameras now as little portable cameras. You could use an old point and shoot. Obviously, you've got the Ricos. There's the small Sony APS-Cs. There's lots to choose from, but I think not taking a big, heavy, full frame camera with you, you can be a bit more stealthy as well when you're going into maybe historical buildings and things like that. It's not like you're a professional photographer. You're just, you can act a bit more like a tourist, which has gotten me in places with cameras that if I'd had a different camera, they might have been a bit more, you're not allowed to come in with that. So it's something to think about when you're going into a city or you're on holiday. You don't want that disruptance if you can afford it. Well, I feel like I've blitzed through this video. I feel like I'm getting a bit better at talking to the camera. It's only taken me a year, so hopefully I've gotten a bit better at talking to the camera. But if you're in a big city with friends or family or your partner, try not to think about whether you need to decide whether it's going to be a photography trip or you're just going to enjoy it. Think about how you can, like I keep saying, collaborate with whoever you're going with, merge the two so everyone can get the maximum out of the day. And like I've mentioned, even maybe getting them involved in the photography process and getting them hooked in photography. You never know, next time you go to a big city, they might even have a camera with them. And wouldn't that be super cool? Because then it can always just be about cameras, which is what we're trying to do, adopt more people into taking photos and becoming more creative. But as always, I end these videos with some questions. I'd love to know how everyone else balances that kind of photography workflow and the hobby of photography with that family life balance, especially when you're going to these places. I can imagine, especially if you've got kids, it's even more of a stressful situation. So I'd love to know how people balance this in their unique ways of making sure they can still do their hobby whilst not leaving their family aimlessly wandering around the city, wondering where they are. But as always, thanks for watching, everyone, and drop a message, drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you.